professors, dear colleagues, it is an honor for me to present you the book entitled Shielding Europe with a Common Security and Defence Policy, the EU legal framework for the development of an innovative European defence industry in times of a changing global security environment. As you can see, together with my co-editor, we have tried very hard to come up with a very long title. The book has been edited by Professor Ede Szilágyi and me, and it is a result of a one-year research project carried out within the 2023 Central European Professors Network project. And it was carried out by an interdisciplinary team of 19 legal and non-legal experts, involving also several members of the military. The technical editor of this book is Błażej Tazbir, a young PhD student from the University of Miskolc and an intern in our academy. The book delves into a critical issue of developing defense capacities in Europe, more precisely the defense industry in the European Union and its member states. The choice of topic has already been signaled by Professor Szilágyi at the beginning, so let me continue with the presentation of the book and its main messages. The book has a twofold objective. First, it aimed to identify and explore the relevant and applicable legal framework. Second, the authors sought to identify the unregulated areas and legal obstacles that need to be addressed to enable the development of the European defense industry. In addition, several authors have attempted to suggest improvement directions for European and domestic lawmakers alike. The book itself consists of 5 parts. The first part focuses on the policy issues. The second part presents the legal framework surrounding the common security and defense policy, while part 3 focuses specifically on the legal framework relevant for the investment and financing aspects of the defense industrial development. Parts 4 and 5 address legal and practical aspects associated with certain military innovation areas and the protection of critical infrastructure in the European Union. As we all know, over the last 2 decades, the global security situation has deteriorated significantly. We have witnessed the return of a full-scale war in Europe and a general shift in the global geopolitics towards a multipolar world order coupled with a new arms race. As new threats and powers emerge, the EU leaders have recognized the need to ramp up the EU capacities to reduce reliance on external security providers. Achieving this goal isn't straightforward. The EU was built on pacifist ideals and ideas which prioritized economic cooperation to prevent conflict and not a military alliance. Therefore, adapting the EU's legal and institutional frameworks to support military cooperation and the development of the defense sector poses several challenges which have been addressed by the authors of the book. The findings of our research suggest that the EU's ability to create a coherent legal framework for its defense sector is challenged, among others, by years of underspending on defense, which has led to the reduced industrial capacities and production of the EU member states, and as a result, serious shortfalls in their military inventories. Other challenges include varying economic interests and different defense priorities. There are significant difficulties in determining the nature and scope of the EU competences in the area of common foreign and security policy and common security and defense policy, where the dynamics of European integration is shaped by the duality of intergovernmentalism and supranationalism. There are also different state approaches and distinct combat strategies which have resulted in a lack of unified position on the acquisition or development of certain military technologies, such as, for example, unmanned warfare, which hampers legislative processes within the EU. Last but not least, there are several ethical concerns towards the use of new military technologies, in addition to legal complexities. After February 2022, the EU has attempted to live up to these challenges and to new security environment in different manner. First, by introducing new applications for its existing defense-related programs, such as the European Defence Fund or the European Peace Facility, and on the other hand, by establishing new incentives, such as Act in Support of Ammunition Production, the Common Procurement Act, or the European Defence Industry Programme. Let me formulate some most important messages that come from the research. I don't dare to call them conclusions. So, first of all, from the side of the European action, there is a need to consolidate the member states' action from the demand side, mainly through the unified procurement rules. But on the other hand, there is a need to support the supply side to enable better production, to produce more and faster and better. That is the role that the European Defence Industry Programme can play. On the other hand, there is a fear that the collective defense planning might be met with passive attitudes or even reluctance from the member states, similar to those which were provoked by collectivized economy during the communist era. There is also a risk that introducing market logic to defense procurement, attempted already by the EU, could put less developed member states at risk of dismantling their defense industries and locking them in existing inequalities. Therefore, it seems that adopting a coherent action at the EU level is one possible avenue for the development of the European defense sector, which should be complemented by action at the domestic level, by increasing their own military capacities and investing in their own national military industry, or at least home-based production sites. The EU member states can strengthen the overall level of defense capacities of the European Union as a whole. In other words, there is a need for a proper legislative environment and forward-looking strategic decisions also at the domestic level, in parallel to the coordinated European action. In conclusion, our book provides a critical analysis of the current landscape and some ideas for addressing legal and strategic gaps. We hope it can reach not only scholars, but also policymakers and contribute to strengthening the European security environment. Thank you very much.